Thank you for your patience. First, I'd like to give you a brief background of Albers Communications Group. We're a full-service public relations, social media, and marketing communications agency in Omaha. We strongly believe that PR and social media go hand in hand and work best when used as part of an integrated communications strategy. And we collaborate with our clients to develop communications plans that work across multiple channels, both offline and online. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Jenna Gallagher. I have worked as a PR specialist for Albers Communications for 2 years. And in addition to being a regular blogger and contributor to our newsletter, the Albers Insider, I create social media content for many of our clients. Prior to Albers, I worked as a features editor at Harper's Bazaar magazine, where I contributed and edited content and also wrote many of the sound bites that our editor-in-chief used in her dealings with the media. It was kind of like the ghostwriter wears Prada. I've also been a contributing writer and editor for several books about fashion and retail. Since I love to write, the words "content is king" are music to my ears. I'm ever mindful of them as I help our clients build a solid social media platform that complements their public relations strategy and enhances their online presence. Now, today I'm looking forward to speaking with you about how to identify great social media content and, what's more, how to create your own. We'll go over the hows, the whys, and the wheres of posting content to achieve the most impact. And we'll also have time for your questions at the end. Now, I mentioned the phrase "content is king" a few minutes ago. That's a buzz phrase that we've been hearing a lot lately, so I think it's important to start off by identifying the kind of content that's a king maker. Great social media content does 4 things. It gets an emotional response, it creates engagement, it reinforces your brand, and it goes viral. And by that I mean that people share it across their own social media platforms. There are really only 2 keys to creating memorable copy. Keep it short, generally 3 sentences or less, and make it arresting. People will remember content that makes them stop absently clicking around Facebook and take notice. It can be funny, moving, or even a little offbeat, just as long as it fits your brand. Now, here we have some examples of posts that we've done that have gotten great feedback. The first one is for Homestead Senior Care, and it talks about the Be a Santa to a Senior program that we've been promoting. It mentions great local media coverage for the program, and it tells a touching story about how one local senior chose to help. There's also an implied call to action that encourages others in the community to participate in the program. This top Merry Maids post over here offers a useful, timely tip for the holidays, and it has a memorable quip that incorporates the brand name, 8 Merry Maids a Milking. It was designed to give people an LOL moment, and it also reminds them that they may need help accomplishing all the household tasks that need to be done before the holidays. And this bottom Merry Maids post, it's actually a little creepy, but it definitely stops people in their tracks and makes them think of some housekeeping that they may be overlooking. And here we have 2 examples of less than stellar posts on the next page. The one on the left is on the page of a supermarket, and it's talking about some hair care products that are on sale. The problem is that it uses jargon. Does anyone know what cationic chemistry has to do with shampoo? I don't. At a glance, I would say it's the brand name, but if you read further, you see that the brand name is Believe, which makes it even more confusing because it happens to be lowercase, and both cationic and chemistry are capitalized like they're a name. I think the person who wrote this post led with cationic chemistry because it uses alliteration, and that can serve to make a post snappier. But in this case, it really just makes the reader scratch their head, and that's really not so handy for a shampoo ad. And over here, the slide on the right is a good reminder to consider your brand and make sure that what you're posting doesn't, even for 1 second, cast it in a negative or alarming light. This was on the page of an airline. And in this day and age, the thought of passengers on an airline getting a surprise visit from military personnel can create a pretty frightening initial mental image. And it's one that lingers even after you learn that it was for a Toys for Tots drive. The word surprise should never be used on a Facebook page for an airline. because in air travel, surprises are never welcome. Similarly, you wouldn't start off a post with "Code Red" if you were administering a hospital page, even if you were posting that the cafeteria just got Mountain Dew. Being insensitive to any concerns or squeamishness that people feel about your business can make you sound glib and unprofessional. Sometimes it's just a matter of rewriting the post, changing the word "surprise" to "delighted." Now, it's also important to know where the best place for your post is, because people use different social media platforms for different things. When we think of social media, there are a few household names that come to mind. The first one, of course, is Facebook. For most brands, Facebook is a must-have for connecting with your audience. Today, a business without a Facebook page is like a business without a website was 10 years ago. In fact, a recent study showed that 50% of consumers think a brand's Facebook page is more valuable than its website. After Facebook, there are other platforms that can be just as important, depending on your business and your goals. They are blogs, Twitter, LinkedIn, and platforms like Pinterest and Google+, which are relative newcomers and haven't quite caught fire for business the way that Facebook has yet. But watch the space because they're coming up fast. Now, since we consider Facebook to be a must-have, let's start off there. While there are hundreds of types of personal Facebook posts, for businesses, most posts should fall into one of three categories: service-driven, which includes information and tips; announcements, such as information about an event that you're having; and fun and observances, which could include things like "Happy New Year from all of us to all of you," or photos of the office dog. And if you post regularly, which we recommend because there's not a lot of point to a static Facebook page, service-driven content will probably comprise the bulk of your presence, because frankly there's only so much you can announce and so many pictures of the office dog that you can post. By posting information about your industry and tips for your clients, you're positioning yourself as an expert and underscoring your usefulness to your client and your prospective clients. Now, here are some great examples of service-driven posts. You'll notice that this first one and the fourth one down here post a gentle suggestion that the reader give them a call, while the second and the third one do not. While calls to action are important to post periodically, you don't want to include everyone every single time that you post. If someone's following you on Facebook, they already care about your business, and beseeching them to call you every day feels heavy-handed, and it may even lead to unlikes. When creating service-driven posts, it's important to note that what's going on in your clients' lives is part of what you should be posting. For example, in the post that we just saw, our technology client was talking about end-of-the-year tax expirations that could incentivize their customers to purchase new IT equipment. Our senior care client was talking about a fun activity to share with a senior on a warm winter day. Our grounds management client was talking about energy-efficient holiday lighting. They're all appealing to what's going on in their customers' lives right now. But since you can anticipate the calendar a little bit, we do recommend drafting a few social media posts at a time in advance so that you're not scrambling to come up with something every single day. You already have the knowledge. It's simply a matter of posting it when your customer needs it most. And of course, offering to help them with an issue that they may not be willing or able to tackle themselves. And while you're the expert, don't be afraid to borrow from other sources occasionally too. If they inspire you, they'll probably inspire the people who like your page as well. For example, the National Private Duty Association frequently quotes the book 101 Ways to Make a Difference. Since their audience tends to be people in the home health care industry, they're people who really respond to ideas on how to best serve others and their communities. While your social media audience definitely looks to your Facebook page and the other platforms on which you engage with them for information and tips, they're also looking to engage with you on a local level. That's where your office's announcements come in. These are extremely important because 30 days worth of tips can start to sound a bit corporate and canned. By posting about any events that you're having, positive client feedback, local press, awards or recognition that you've received, charity initiatives that you're involved with, and special offers that you're giving your Facebook audience, you can establish yourself as a prominent and personal fixture in their social media feed. Now, social media is a truly excellent way to publicize events that you're conducting, because if someone's following your page, they already feel a personal investment in your industry in general and your business's activities in particular. It also gives you an opportunity to create a special event tab on your Facebook page and post continual coverage of the event, some teasers and save the dates a month or so in advance, reminders and any press about the event during the ramp-up, and photos of the event afterwards. Let's be honest, even the most supportive community newspaper or broadcaster is not going to give you that level of coverage. So it's really up to you to fill in the gaps. And this is an example of a Facebook event that we created for the Homestead Senior Care Office in Wilmington, Delaware, when they participated in the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It acts as an online gathering place for the event, giving people the opportunity to RSVP and providing any extra necessary details. Participants in this event may even treat the page as a forum to discuss it or to post photographs before and afterwards. The next few pages illustrate the Facebook posts that we crafted for Omaha-based Grace University in honor of their Festival of Christmas Scholarship Concert event. Instead of just posting the event information over and over again, we highlighted press coverage, interesting information about some of the people involved, the theme, etc. And because the event was a classical program, we interspersed complementary cultural information, such as this trivia question about relevant works in the Joslyn Art Museum, which hosted the event, with promotional posts, which included our enthusiastic endorsement of the choir director's appearance on a local morning show. And we even added a multimedia dimension by posting a link to the TV interview immediately after it aired. But unlike certain tax cuts that everyone's been talking about, we didn't let our coverage expire at midnight the night before. In fact, we posted a call to action right on the day of the event and a heartfelt thanks directly afterwards. You don't have to plan a big event to have something to announce though. Talking about any community outreach that you're doing is another great way to engage your Facebook audience. It's even more effective if you let others do it for you. One great example of that is this excerpt from a letter to one of our Mary Maids clients who does pro bono cleaning for cancer patients. Another example is this link that our grounds management client posted to a local news story. It aired on Veterans Day, and it was about one of their employees, a Vietnam veteran, who volunteered to help a World War II veteran with his landscape cleanup. Something that we encourage many of our clients to do when they start their Facebook page is a Like-a-Thon. They select a charity that means something to them or to their business, and they offer to donate $1 to it for every like their Facebook page receives during a certain period. It's usually 1 month, and clients usually stipulate a reasonable dollar cap. These work especially well if you continually remind your Facebook audience to share the information and also ask the charity to share among their network. They should be all too happy to do so because it means extra dollars for them. And you can also request that they're local for your posts and other marketing materials and post about the Like-a-Thon on their wall. Now, you'll recall that I mentioned that there are 3 types of posts that you should consider: service-driven and tips, news and events, and this is the third type, fun and observances. We recommend localizing your content by posting a heartfelt yet simple message about holidays or national observances, such as Veterans Day, staff announcements, such as employee milestones, and pictures of office events or employees' children's, like at Halloween. Just be sure to get the parents' permission first. Now, this one was a fun post that we did for the Lincoln, Nebraska Mary Maids office, which won the Best Local Cleaning Service Award for the 4th year in a row. It's colorful, obviously very local, and got tons of engagement. After all, who doesn't want to engage with cupcakes? Plus, it was original and a festive way to talk about an achievement that they had every reason to be proud of, and they were. But just like cupcakes, social media posts are generally consumed in small, quick bites, so keep your posts as short and as light as possible. It's also important to know that who your audience is and not post above or below their basic understanding of your business. The sweet spot is providing useful information without sounding too egg-headed or using industry jargon, as we saw in the shampoo post. If you want to provide more in-depth information, consider doing so in a blog. And if you do have a blog, post links to it and other interesting user-friendly information that you find on the web to encourage engagement. You can also encourage engagement by asking a question in your posts. Studies show that questions on Facebook have a 15% higher engagement rate. Now, accompanying a post with a photo is a total do. You don't want to do it for every post, but sporadic, appropriately themed photos are eye-catching, and they add life to a page. Pets and children are almost always a hit. On the other hand, it goes without saying, but it must be said, always avoid political and controversial topics on your social media page. It's the quickest way to alienate your audience. Constantly auto-posting, which is loading your content into an application like Hootsuite for it to automatically be posted at a set time, is another don't. Every once in a while it's acceptable, but if you do it too often, it sort of becomes the social media equivalent of a robocall. Now, unfortunately, as last week reminded us, there's another reason not to rely too heavily on auto-posts. If there happens to be a tragedy or a natural disaster on the day that you have an auto-post scheduled, it could be construed as insensitive that you posted promotional or business-related content when everyone else on Facebook was expressing their concern for the situation. So that's definitely something that we try to be very mindful of when we're doing our posts. A reliable best practice is to establish a rhythm for posting and stick to it. The way Facebook works, the more people engage with your posts, the more likely they are to see them. So it's important to build up momentum by posting at least 3 and ideally 5 times a week. You might also consider varying the times you post to reach people when they're online. For many businesses, a successful strategy is to post outside of regular business hours. But that sort of depends on who's viewing your page. If it's someone within your referral network, for example, they're very likely to be looking at your page while they're at work, whereas a retailer might be more successful reaching customers during their leisure time. And of course, if someone does engage with your posts, don't forget to engage back, that's usually just as simple as liking their comment or answering their question. Although don't hesitate to invite them to call you or to message you if you think that their comment requires more in-depth discussion. And as I mentioned, if you're interested in providing more in-depth information, you should consider a blog. Not only is it an added value that you can provide your clients and include in your networking efforts, but it can also help you with your search engine optimization, or SEO. Also, by linking between your blog and your other social media, you can cross-promote and integrate your entire online strategy. The best blogs are light and conversational in tone, and they don't have to delve too deeply into topics, but it is helpful if they link to sources where more information can be found. Generally, we like to create blogs for our clients that are pegged to a timely event. This month, of course, our blogs have been around issues and how they relate to the client's holiday activities. While blogs are a bit longer, Twitter is famous for its extremely short posts, 140 characters. It's a constant and fluid feed that requires a pretty high level of user commitment if you're looking for engagement. It's great for people who are out and about and want to tweet about it. For example, if you attend a lot of business association meetings or workshops, live tweeting from them is a cool way to show that you're staying on the cutting edge of your industry. It's less effective for people who have a passive relationship with social media. Like blogging, it's an excellent way to cross-promote your other social media efforts by tweeting links to them. Now, if you do use Twitter, here are some ways to really make your content work for you. It's a fantastic way to post information about an event over and over again, or what's going on with your business in real time without over-posting. And that's something that we always try to be mindful of on Facebook. Because Twitter is so fluid, you can post something every hour and reach a different audience every time, if you have enough followers, that is. A few ways to increase your following is to share links to other useful content and to retweet interesting content from people that you're following. If they see that you're engaging with them, they will probably follow you back, and others who are engaging with them might as well. Now, LinkedIn is another excellent way to engage with others in your industry and your referral network. You can repost your blogs here to reinforce your position as an industry leader, But if you create original content for LinkedIn, you can dial up the tone a little bit to appeal it to others in your industry. Unlike other social networks, on LinkedIn, jargon is not a problem because the people who are following you speak the same language. You can also publicize job openings and industry-related activities. Pinterest is trending right now, so I'm just going to say a few words about it before we wrap things up. It's perfect if you have a visual product or a unique idea of how to represent your services in a visual way. But at the moment, we actually don't recommend having a Pinterest page just for the sake of having a Pinterest page. Now, on the other hand, you may consider having a Google Plus page just to have a Google Plus page because it hasn't quite caught on yet, but I think it will help with SEO at some point, possibly even now because it's tied to Google. I wouldn't spend a lot of time crafting original content for it though, because maintaining a page and reposting your content there could help with the SEO, but it's, like I said, it hasn't quite caught on as much as it probably will in the future. Now, as you probably know, Google Plus launched a few years ago to lots of fanfare, and then it kind of fizzled. But there's starting to be a little buzz around it again, so it's definitely worth keeping an eye on for future use. And speaking of the future, we've already got some great webinars scheduled for 2013. Coming up on February 13th, Albers Communications Group President Tom Albers will be discussing Making Your Media Impressions Matter, Quantity versus Quality, and it's all about measuring the value of your earned media. On April 17th, Director of New Media and Senior PR Specialist Gina Pappas will discuss the importance of effective storytelling and the place that it has in public relations today. They both promise to be useful and informative webinars, and I hope you'll be able to participate.